Good evening. Welcome to the Stephen Knight Show. Hope you're having a great Monday. We're going to try our best to make it even better. Tonight, we are breaking down the hottest topics everyone's talking about the backlash following the indefinite suspension of Jimmy Kimmel's Live, plus more revelations from former VP Kamala Harris, upcoming memoir 107 Days, and updates on black unemployment. Plus, Cardi B is in the news in more ways than one. Hear about how an AI-powered R&B artist that just got signed to a multi-million dollar contract is creating backlash for artists like SZA and Kalani. They're speaking out against it. All that and much more. We're Montreal over Facebook, Blue Sky, X, and of course our YouTube channel, The Stephen Knight Show. Please, please, please subscribe and comment. We appreciate you. Now, this is Hispanic Heritage Month, which is the U.S. celebrate annually, September 15th through the October 15th, to honor the cultures, histories, and contributions of Americans who trace their heritage to Spain, Mexico, and Spanish-speaking nations of Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. The time is significant because September 15th marked Independence Day for several Central American countries, including Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Nicaragua, and Honduras, while Mexico's Independence Day was on the 16th of this month. All right, so how y'all doing, family? Brittany is out today, but Adam has offered to step in. Everybody doing good? All right.
Okay.
Oh, here's our question of the day. So, if your ex called and to let you know they were engaged, would you congratulate them or would you hang up? I'll start with you, Lania.
Okay, congratulations.
All right. Especially when you have definitely moved on, 9-year relationship. Chicken, let me ask you, what would you do? Would you congratulate them or hang up?
Um, Depending on, I guess, the terms, if you're still speaking, I mean, the human and proper thing to do is to do that. But true story, it happened over here, and I say congratulations and wish you well. So now I get pictures of, the kid and,
Oh no,
all that. Yeah, I get all of that. Yeah. So
that's pushing it. Adam, what do you do in this situation? I know you're married now, but what would you do? Ex,
I mean, I would say again and figure out who they're engaged to this time. And then see what kind of food they're going to have at the wedding and see if I'm invited. But
you're right.
beyond that, no. I mean, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine also a world where anyone calls me anymore.
Right.
So, uh, but if I got a text like this, I would just say congrats and then move on.
We asked this on Facebook, and Sally said I would send his fiance a sympathy card. But
now,
yeah,
I wouldn't be going to any weddings though. I wouldn't do
no,
that. Like
that's
that's a
pushing.
no.
That's pushing it. Yeah. No, I would definitely say congratulations, but yeah, can carry on. Well, let us know on Blue Sky or X if your ex call. Would you say to let you know they were engaged? Would you congratulate them or hang up? Stephen Knight Show on X and the Stephen Knight Show on Blue Sky. All right, so Jimmy Kimmel suspension and return. So, in response to remarks made by host Jimmy Kimmel about the recent shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, the decision came after several. He was suspended. Excuse me. It came after several affiliate stations, including major groups like Next Star, announced they would no longer air the program, citing the comments were offensive. Now, this forced ABC to pull the show from its lineup and pause associated advertising. With Jimmy Kimmel Live generating nearly $70 million in ad revenue this year, the suspension expected to cost Disney millions and strain relationships with key advertisers. Now, over 400 celebrities and directors signed the ACLU's open letter condemning ABC and Disney's suspension. Signees included Selena Gomez, Olivia Rodrigo, Ben Platt, Meryl Streep, Bryan Cranston, and Tom Hanks, Jennifer Aniston, Robert De Niro, and more. Now Disney hit was hit with a financial and setback after ABC suspended the Jimmy Kimmel Live show. Now they were in discussions earlier today. Was reported over the weekend to bring him back, but they were hit with I'm sorry, it was like over like $3 billion in loss as a result from people in their subscriptions to Hulu and ABC, Disney, etc. And some people were even saying they weren't even going to go to the Disney parks. And so a lot of people think this had a lot to do with them making the decision to bring him back. The question will be, what will because he's coming back tomorrow. It was announced today he will come back tomorrow. Now they did release a statement. Disney did say in that they didn't say what he said was incorrect or false. They just said the timing was insensitive with the country uh, following the Charlie Kirk murder. So, Linnea, let me get your opinion. What do you think ultimately? Is it money talks? Is it what brought the show back? Because he was only suspended for 6 days.
Oh, them pockets was hit.
Hmm.
Um, we're talking about people canceling their cruises, and we know that Disney costs money.
Yeah.
So those pockets were hit something terrible. And for people to cancel a vacation, that's major. And I don't understand. This is what it means for people to come together.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? And I hate the fact that only happens at certain times.
Hmm.
It doesn't happen all the time, because no, that should not have happened to Jimmy Kimmel, but also over 350,000 Black women were fired from federal government jobs
Yeah.
since this administration took office.
Hmm.
Not a peep. Other things have happened in between. There was no coming together and no, Joy Reid, nothing. Tiffany Cross, nothing. Voices who are out there, who are doing the groundwork, are being, well, they're trying to silence them. And if people only you see the power that we have. If you came together like that for everything and everybody, do you know what that would mean?
Hmm.
It would mean catastrophe for the other side. How do you think when those boycotts happened back in the day, what happened?
Hmm.
Stuff got shut down. They could not do nothing because guess what? That money, them pockets were hurting.
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Chike, there's still question around will some of these affiliate stations will they air Jimmy Kimmel Live tomorrow? Um, you know, a lot of these places are in deep red states where they're very conservative and Trump supporters. And so, do you think they will air Jimmy Kimmel Live, or do you think they'll? Because they at one point said they were going to air during his suspension a Charlie Kirk tribute video, but ended up not doing that. Ended up putting it on YouTube and running other programming from ABC. What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know, but if those contracts are tight, they might not have a choice but to run. If Jimmy Kimmel's contracts are set up in a way where my broadcast is blah 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 and blah 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 blah, then they have to do that because technically the networks were in breach of contract by suspending him.
Yeah.
That's a lawsuit. That's a lawsuit. And also with all the, cancellation of subscriptions, that's another piece of chunk of money that's taken out. And I want to bring something to light that people aren't really talking about, right? So this is a political type situation.
Right.
Let's say the Stephen Knight show was on Hulu. We have nothing to do with that. That's Jimmy Kimmel's show. This is our show, but we happen to be on Hulu. And we get caught up in that and people start canceling the subscriptions and our ratings go down because of it. Now our parent company can say, hey, Stephen Knight show, your numbers aren't doing what we want them to do, so we're going to cancel your show. No fault of our own.
Right.
We lose our platform simply because of the politics surrounding our parent company, which we have no control over. So the artists are caught in the middle. They have nothing to do with the overhead part of it, which I think is horrible. And I want to remind people, let's go back in time to a little show known as the Arsenio Hall Show. And Arsenio Hall had Louis Farrakhan on as a guest.
Yeah.
And right after that, he was canceled because of his choice to have someone that was politically controversial on his show. Where was all of this?
Mm-hmm.
Where was the rallying cry? And to be totally honest, that was the only show that was on television at the time where someone like myself, yourself, Linnea, can go and see people that look like us on the screen
Yeah.
that were of notoriety. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where was the outcry for that?
Exactly.
So
Yeah. And Adam, it was interesting. I saw I think her name is Cynthia Nixon. That's from Sex and the City. Is that her name?
yes,
Cynthia?
yep.
Well, she was on TikTok. She made a video saying that she was canceling her subscription. Howard Stern said the same thing today. That they were canceling her subscription, and she said, "I'm going to miss shows like Abbott Elementary," and she named some other shows
Uh-huh.
there. But she said, but freedom of speech is more important than us, my family, missing those shows." And so I think when you have so many A-list celebrities or celebrities in general, over 400,
Mhm.
and directors, like their directors saying they weren't even going to produce on these networks, on this network anymore. I'm sure when it came down to it, that money talks. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Definitely. Chike knew what I was going to say, though. Definitely. First off, I will say I like Chike's point about Arsenio Hall. I don't even think I was born when that show came out, but I remember reading about it. So,
You were born.
um, yeah. But yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, everyone else pointed out accurately, like it is the money, and when you have to do this, like what? How do you send a message? And it is canceling subscriptions. I mean, that's what I mean, people were boycotting like or protesting outside Disney
Yeah.
studio, but we don't live in
Writers.
California, so we can't do that. So how does like a normal person get to express their frustration? And that's how, canceling. I think Disney really felt the pinch, and yeah, they kind of went back on it.
And they initially said that ABC, the executives didn't even think what Jimmy Kimmel said was bad. They didn't think it was because he didn't say anything negative about Charlie Kirk. He was talking about Trump.
And
But it was
yeah,
the affiliates who got mad in those red areas, and they're the ones who pushed back, and that's what led them to. And again, it didn't happen right away. This happened 2 days later once the clip hit the right wing platforms, the networks, those talk shows. And so it's just interesting. But again, it goes to show the power of when we all come together and stand for what's right. Because you had Republican leadership and Democrat leadership saying this is wrong. The First Amendment
Mhm.
is important, and if they start canceling this, when a Democrat gets in office, they'll start canceling us. Ted
Yeah.
Cruz said that of all people. So I think it was a little bit. It was more than just Trump's retribution against people who are against him. Because he had already
And
said when Stephen Colbert got canceled, he said Jimmy Kimmel's next.
can I point out something that people might not understand in totality? It's not like that orange person called up on the phone, picked up and said, "Take him off. I want him off." It doesn't happen like that.
Right.
These companies are A lot of these companies are in the midst of consuming other companies. So you'll have
Next star.
uh, yeah, exactly. You'll have a company like formulating a house and they'll acquire a whole bunch of other companies, but they need the government's approval for those mergers. And
Mhm.
if the government doesn't give you the thumbs up for you to go
SEC.
ahead and make that merger, that can't happen. So you can't make that deal that you set up simply because of the politics because somebody doesn't like. So it's not like they're making a call, I don't like what you said, get that person off. It's not that cut and dry. It's more like, oh, well, wait, because next year you have this situation pending. I won't say yes to this quadrillion-dollar deal because of this one thing right here. And these companies are making executive decisions. Well, we can lose this one show, or we can grab these three networks that we're going to get. And that's how they're making the decisions. But at what point, and this is what these artists are saying, at what point do we stand 10 toes down and say no?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what happened in this case because I think NESCAR was looking to purchase whatever. And they were looking because the head of the FCC said he threatened last week. He said you can do it the easy way or the hard way. But then today he changed his tune and said that Jimmy Kimmel got canceled because of his ratings. But obviously we see that wasn't the case. You know what I mean?
So can I just chime in on that?
Yeah.
You already know that this administration loves to twist,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
They love to say things that are not true.
Right.
That's what they run on, and then they have a whole conglomerate of people who believe them. But one of the things that I found funny in regards to the canceling of the subscriptions is that initially it would be super easy for you to cancel.
Yeah.
Once all this started and it came out, they made it difficult for you to cancel. So now you have to go through all of these steps
Yep.
to just cancel your subscription because, you know, 9 times out of 10, they just want you to get frustrated. Be like, no, I don't want to pause it. I
Right.
want to cancel
Yeah.
it because that's what they're doing now. Like, it's like, I think you got to go through like 5 or 6 million steps now to
Mhm.
cancel. But before you even get to that, they be like, oh, no, do you want to pause it for
Yeah.
like 3 months? Like, you're giving me something for free.
Right.
No, I want to cancel. And then you have to give a reason why you're canceling.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, I just love the reasons that they gave, which is
Oh
like
yeah.
free speech is important, and you know you're dealing with fascism, and I'm not being a part of that. I don't want this no more. Like all of those different things. And can we just touch on the fact that also you already said it? The people who had a problem with what Jimmy Kimmel said, we're talking about red states. Like that in and of itself,
Right.
that's like, you know, that right there is just, you know. Oh, and can we just mention how amazing? I don't know if y'all checked out South Park and that episode that they had, and that man had a fit,
Oh.
baby.
Mhm.
But they got paid. So no matter how much, you know, he hoots and hollers, you know, this is what free speech is.
Right.
And I don't know if y'all seen the whole thing with him and the fireworks at that man's funeral. He coming out like he a
Yeah.
wrestler. And he said,
Dancing.
dancing, and he said, I'm not wishing nobody well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No one.
I hate my
Opponents or whoever.
yeah.
Who that's not who we are, the laughing stock of the world.
We sure are. All right, well, in her forthcoming memoir, 107 Days, former VP Kamala Harris reveals that she considered former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg as her top choice for running mate in 2024 presidential campaign. However, she decided against selecting him due to the perceived risk of having a gay man on the ticket alongside a black woman, citing potential voter reactions. Harris ultimately chose Minnesota Governor Tim Walz for his executive experience and alignment with middle class values. The memoir also critiques the Democratic Party's decision to let President Joe Biden solely decide on his reelection bid, calling it reckless. Now, the book offering a behind the scenes look at Harris's short campaign is set to release tomorrow. Now, I was listening to them talk about this on The View about and Sarah Haynes, who I think we all like to see the world in rose glasses and everything, but she was saying that we need to stop looking at identity politics. We should look at people on their character. And Pete Buttigieg, he would have been a great person, and no one would care that he's gay, etc., because he's so smart. And Sonny Austin said, that's nice, but as a black woman who's lived as a black woman 50 some years, that's not how the country sees it. That's the first thing they see. And I do think there is something, I mean, identity politics is something that they always do chemistry reads with the nominee and who they choose to make sure they have good chemistry. And they say that Kamala Harris is a DE hire or whatever. Remember when Joe Biden picked her, but they always have selected a running mate based on what they're lacking or what they want to attract when they're running for president. So I'm sorry with you, Adam. Do you think that the country would have elected? I mean, obviously, this is hypothetical, a black woman and a gay man when we've never had that in this country.
Yeah, I think so. The problem started with the country not liking black women, right? I mean, it doesn't matter who her running mate was.
Right.
Tim Walz was a good running mate. The people they would rather vote for an old racist pedophile than a black woman, and so I don't even think the Pete Buttigieg thing would have mattered.
Yeah. Okay. Point blank. Chike, what are your thoughts?
Yay, Adam. Pretty much the same. I think us, no offense, Adam, But us being people of color, we tend to see the world differently. I'll say that, to our truths and what we experience on this planet. And some people are just out of touch with that. You don't know because you don't know. And it's easy for someone to be cavalier and blow that off. No, we need to get rid of identity politics. But aren't we all trained as in being human beings? When you describe someone, it's about the exterior and how they look first. You're that thing before you're another thing.
Mm-hmm.
And to be quite honest, I was raised with, my dad used to say, son, you have to play the black tax by being in the world. And the black tax is, we have to be 10 times better. We have to work 10 times harder. We have to go 10 times further. And it's throughout everything. It's not just little facets of life. It's throughout everything. Mm-hmm. That woman, Vice President Kamala Harris, was the most qualified human being to ever run for president. More so than our first president, George Washington, or anybody else that followed after. Mm-hmm. The most qualified person. But because, she has a vagina, people did not want to vote for her. Stupidity. That's just my opinion. It's just stupid. You would want the best person for the job. So what? Pete Buttigieg is gay. So what? He ran a great campaign. He was a great mayor. His position in the cabinet, he did well at.
Yeah.
What does it matter? Mm-hmm. But because we're stuck in identity politics, we see a thing first, and then the thing has to prove itself. Mm-hmm.
That's why
they don't want to give people an opportunity to prove anything.
That's why it's always interesting when people say, "I don't see color." We all see color. That's the first thing we see when we see you. But I remember
I am color and I see color.
Right. But yeah, I remember when Barack Obama was running the first time, and I was talking to my mom on the phone, and I can hear the hope in her, but in her mind, she said they will never elect that man. They will never do it. And so she was more shocked than anybody when he won. But what are your thoughts? Do you think that the country was going to elect a black woman and a gay man?
First, let me say this. Adam, come on into my bosom, honey, because I love you. Come on into the bosom. Feel me hugging you. Because Adam gives a perspective outside of us, and I always appreciate his perspective.
Yeah.
And Adam genuinely is a person who he is not, and I'm only using this example as an exaggeration. He is no Scott Jennings, okay? And y'all should know who that is.
Oh gosh.
So I appreciate you for that, Adam. Because when you come with your perspective, it is like a breath of fresh air. And it's not about right or wrong. You know what I mean? You seem like you look at what it is and you articulate it so perfectly. So I appreciate you for that. So I just wanted to say that. Mm-hmm. And hell no.
Right. That
would not have happened. I would have loved, listen, baby. Come on, Petey. I would have loved it. I would have embraced it. But listen, they weren't gonna let her in. So they not gonna let him in.
Right.
The closest thing you're gonna get is what you got, with the governor, and mayor, and he was the director of transportation when he was in cabinet. And he did an amazing job. When he would go out there and he would speak, baby, I'd be like, Pete,
yeah,
I would vote for you. I really would. But and Tim Walz was an amazing choice as well, because it's not like you're just going to have one person
right
as an option. You have to, because somebody might be like, you know what, nah, that's not for me. You know what I mean? So, but I feel like it probably would have been maybe 95% if it was her and Pete, based off of the world that we're in now with, think some people being more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I think that because there was a divide with the LGBT community, because you got this Caitlyn Jenner out here acting a fool. You understand what I'm saying? Like I feel like it was a divide within that, like a big divide, especially involving that particular person. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
They also said that she had considered Shapiro in Pennsylvania, governor of Pennsylvania, but she didn't think he would be able to accept second place. Apparently, he had made comments about what his how he would decorate the VP home if he won, and she's just like, yeah, he's not. He wants to be number one. He wants to be number one. Well, yeah, I do hope that one day we get in a world where you don't have to look at identity politics, but the world is the country's so diverse and so polarized that you do have to have these uh chemistry reads, test these different people to see what sticks, unfortunately. But there are a lot of qualified people. Listen, when we come back, the latest in black unemployment, Cardi B is dominating the headlines with announcements of her baby number 4 and her new album. Plus, find out about an all-new AI-powered R&B artist that signed a multi-million-dollar contract. All that and much more. Right back after this.